This is not what we were expecting to see when we were invited to see a motorcycle collection in Camarillo, California. I'm very humbled that oftentimes people invite us to their collections. Sometimes it's just a handful of bikes, 3 or 4. Yeah, this one far exceeded our expectations and absolutely blew us away. So stay with us. We got a lot of stories to tell and a lot of bikes to see. Oh my Lord. Settle in and get ready. We've got a lot of amazing motorcycles to see. Few of them may even be worth more than your house. Cycle Drag Universe, get ready. Camarillo, California. My good buddy Daniel Shoenenwald invited me to this collection, and you're not gonna believe this. Wow. Daniel Shoenenwald, thank you so much for having me, and this is going to be fun, guys. Kick your feet up and relax because, Daniel, I would say I don't know where to begin, but I think I do know where to begin because I have never seen a 1972 H2 1000 quadruple, not the triple that we're used to. What's the story with this one, Daniel?
So I was at the Isle of Man in 1997, and I saw this guy, and I introduced myself, and he seemed like a pretty cool dude. And I said, "Would you build me a 4-cylinder out of a 750 triple and make it a 4-cylinder 1000?" And he did, and he did it in a couple of months. And long story, but just real quick, this is the first one. I gave him the idea for it.
And that man is the legendary Alan Milliard, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Alan.
I'm familiar with his work. I've seen a few at Barber. There's one floating around here in California, one of Nori's good buddies who has a 1250, but I've never seen a 4-cylinder.
5-cylinder.
I've seen the 5-cylinder. I've never seen the 4-cylinder.
And I asked him to build me one a while back, a long time ago. And then I called him back. I called him and I said, "Oh, Alan, that's a little outrageous. Could you make a 4-cylinder? It's a little more compact." And he goes, "Well, I've never done one of those, but sure, I'll do it for you." And so
beautiful motorcycle. Daniel, you have such an eclectic, amazing collection. How long have you been collecting bikes?
I have one from 1993, which is a Ducati 888, and that's the oldest bike that the longest bike I've owned, but it's certainly not the oldest bike.
Good Lord.
In the 888, kudos to my young friend Doug Poland, who was a many-time world champion. I think he's won 27 championships, national and international. And I bought that Ducati 888 in deference to him.
Well, that's a fitting tribute. And how about a tribute to the Kawasaki triples? Look at this line. Take me down the row here, Daniel. I'm looking at a Mach 3 500.
This is a 1969 500 H1, beautifully restored. And it started the whole craze of let's go fast in a straight line. So this is a 69. This gray one here is called Peacock Gray.
Wow.
And it's kind of crazy because, there's no color in here. In the sunlight, you can see the two different shades of black and dark charcoal.
You may have heard of my good buddy Tony Nicosia.
Yes.
He helped develop this bike.
Absolutely.
We still see him Bike Week all the time, Daytona. He's a hoot. He's dancing with young ladies, having fun. He's a blast.
Introduce me to him. He's like the guru in our sport.
Well, it would be great. I'd love to get you to Daytona Bike Week. Do you go to any of the rallies? Do you ever go to Sturgis or Daytona?
Yeah, been to Sturgis like 3 times.
Very
cool.
This
is a 72 H1C.
Wow, pretty unbelievable. So clean too. I mean,
I restored this with the help of a couple of friends.
Okay.
So this is a nut and bolt restoration.
Oh my goodness. Wow. And Daniel, I know you ride that 1000. Do you start and ride a lot of these bikes in here?
Sort of. I have to have help from all my friends. So it's really nice to have like 6 or 8 or 10 of these bikes go down the highway all at the same time. So you won't really see a sign that says, "Look, but don't touch." All these bikes get ridden, and it's my pleasure to share them.
Well, I really appreciate you having me here again. What are we looking at here? What year with the 500?
This is This is a 75 500. I've had it for about 20 years. And I rode it home, and there's this Harley guy on a Sportster. And it's like I couldn't keep up with them because there's no baffles in here. The spokes were loose, the tires were wiggly. And I thought, I want to come home to my kids and my wife. I'm not going to chase that Sportster down. And so, yeah, I didn't chase that Sportster down. I thought, no, I've got to get some work done on this bike. And now it's fairly reliable and all.
Gorgeous.
So,
and then here we go. Here's.
Oh, wait, so if you come back over here.
Okay, you want to come back over here?
There's a couple of other bikes.
All right.
So besides the Peacock Gray one, in 70, they made the red and white one.
Oh, wow.
And then in 71, this one came out.
Oh, beautiful.
And these are new arrivals. So they got started up for the first time today. And I actually haven't ridden these bikes.
Gorgeous. You certainly have the ultimate, the consummate 500 collection. And I can't wait to see the 750 collection, guys. I'm seeing this for the first time just like you are. Here is a bike that I dream of someday. This is what started the 750cc Kawasaki Triple 1972 Kawasaki H2 750. It is not the quadruple that we just saw. Here's what they're supposed to look like. An iconic and classic bike. And this one looks pretty darn original, Daniel. Tell me about it.
So I bought it, gosh, about 30 years ago. So I started this company 36 years ago, and all I did was work and go home to the kids and the wife. And I thought, well, I want to follow my first love back in college on H2s. So actually, Tom Sherman was here today, who I bought this bike from. And he was still really happy to see that I still had the bike. And here it is. It's a pretty much standard bike, maybe a repaint on a few things. You'll see on the mufflers that there's some cracks and welds and stuff like that. But this is not a showroom quality bike, but it will put a smile on your face.
Oh, I bet it will. I had the opportunity to ride one for the first time this year. What a thrill. Oh. Upgraded front brakes, thank goodness, because I got on it hard, and the guy said you wouldn't have liked it if it was stock brakes. So,
yeah, you want the back. It works good with the back brake too.
I go to a meet. I don't know if you've ever seen it on my YouTube channel, but at Tail of the Dragon in Deals Gap, and the guys actually ride it. They ride it on these old school vintage two-strokes. It'd be great to have you there one day if you could make it.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, and then don't even tell me, we had the quintessential 500 collection. Do we have the quintessential 750 collection here, Daniel?
So, Jack, there's probably 16 H1s.
Oh my gosh.
And I have 8 of them. But these bikes here, the H2s, I have one in every color and every year. And they came out in 69 as the H1. They called it the Widowmaker. So let me just slur the words and say, oh, this is the Widowmaker. And the people who rode them were called organ donors. And I have all years and all colors of the H2.
Wow, let's take a look. Let's take a walk down the line.
Super.
The purple one is ultra collectible. I know that from Mecum, that I think next to the blue one, the first year, I think the purple one is the most collectible.
I bought this for $150 with 2 engines.
How about that? What year was that?
Maybe 2000.
Gosh.
And I had help from Alan Milliard and Neil Hayworth, who did the paint. And so this is one of my restorations, again, with help. I sorted all the parts, but I didn't do the painting or the plating or all this. So
great bike.
This is a very cool bike. So these first ones here are 1972s. The gold and the blue came out. They made 2 different colors. Japan got most of these bikes in Europe. They didn't. The gold one wasn't really popular. So here are the 273s. So if you look at the colors, they're different, but the decals are the same. And so these are 1973. A few subtle differences from the 72, but pretty much This was the bug-eyed Sprite with the Rat 4027 motor in it. And this is where legends were born, with these 72, 73s.
Awesome, Daniel.
Now, when you get to the 74s, they detuned things with the port timing and started changing things around.
Started to refine them a little bit. They were listening to feedback from riders.
Yeah, make them a little more civil. Understanding that the Kawasaki commercial said, let the good times roll, where, you know, the mothers said, oh, we don't want you to go out with the Kawasaki guys. We want you to go out with the Honda people, because their slogan was, you meet the nicest people on the Honda.
Well, here's another beautiful one. The brown one. What year is this brown one?
This is a 74.
Oh, rare
This
74.
used to be a drag bike.
Okay.
And I've got a book, and I recognized the bike before I started working on it to make it stock. And it still sits like this with the chambers, because it's very hard to find these pipes. And now you can, there's an aftermarket company that makes pipes for this. So I'll get it back down to original pipes. That way I can put the center stand on and get it back. When I was younger,
Heck of a collection.
When I was younger, I thought, well, let me take this off and lighten it. Let me take this off and make it go faster. But being 70 now, I want a bike how it came from the factory, because those guys were a lot smarter than me. And for some reason, you know, they didn't do things, mainly because like DOT and, you know, safety issues or whatever. So I tend to try to get something and make it stock unless it's already that way.
Well, that's how they want them. That's how the collectors want them. And I have made that argument on this channel. We go to Mecum, we go to other places. And a lot of people like modifying their motorcycles. They like resto rod. I have a KZ resto rod. And the prevailing theme and thought is do it the way you want it. It's your motorcycle. But what you just said right there is these engineers from these factories are pretty smart. And usually if they put something on this motorcycle, it's for good reason. And everybody wants them the way that they looked when they rolled off the showroom floor for nostalgia purposes. And that's exactly, wow, with this row of 750s. And oh man, Daniel, are you tugging at my heartstrings over here? We go from the 750s right into the New York Steak, the Z1s. How many Z1s do you have, my friend? I'm gonna put you on the spot right here if you tell me a story. If I made you pick between an H2 or a Z1, what's the more iconic, legendary motorcycle? If you were going to take one out right now, which one would you pick?
What day of the week is it, Chuck?
I think that's what most cow guys would say.
You know, they're like kids and your children. You can't pick a favorite. So I usually try to tell people, oh, the favorite bike, oh, it's the one I'm riding right now. But you know what? They're so different, the Z1 and the H2. But these bikes are like books on the library shelf. You put that book out for that occasion to read, and like a motorcycle, you get that bike out for a certain occasion to ride. So I came up with this idea that bikes are like books on a library shelf. Get the one that suits the day. So these are 73s. This one came from Otis Chandler, and it's all original.
Wow.
And it was my first Z1.
Wow. When did you purchase this?
Gosh, I bought it for $3,000.
$3,000. What year are we talking about?
That was a long time ago.
I was like, yeah, I sure was.
I bought this one for $500.
Oh, man.
But it sat in an Oregon cornfield for 29 years.
Oh, my.
And it didn't look anything like this.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah, so I have all years and all colors of the Z1, which is also, like you say, the original one was the New York Steak, but these are called the King of the Road.
I love it.
And so I have all years and all colors.
Well, let's take a walk down this line if we can, Daniel, because this is impressive how many you have. And Daniel, while we look at these incredible Z1s, you have an amazing company here. You also have an amazing story that I'd like to tell really quickly. You used to own nightclubs, and you told me you owned the nightclub that Tupac Shakur was on his way to?
Well, it was somebody else owned it at the time, a guy named Suge Knight. And when he left, he left the club available, and unknowingly I bought it. And it had a bit of infamy to it. And so I had it for 13 years.
Wow. What was the name of the club?
It was called the SRO.
SRO.
And people put the in front of it, and SRO, which they didn't realize means standing room only. Of course, a lot of people know what SRO means, but yeah, so you're looking at
you got an interesting history,
74s
that's for sure.
here.
74, that is another wonderful Z1. What a collection you have here. Gas cap open, perhaps. And a battery tender, that's a good sign. This is like Jay Leno's garage, ready to run, huh?
Oh, it's not anything like Jay's garage.
Wow, Jay would be very impressed with this collection. I know that. And you know Jay well, right?
No, we're friends.
Okay.
Acquaintances.
Well, you better watch. He might see this video and he might be calling to try to buy some of these, especially when I saw a Brough Superior back there and a Vincent Black Shadow. But this is the Japanese version of the Vincent Black Shadow. This is the one and only Kawasaki Z1 before we get into the KZ. Went to the KZ in 76.
Yes. So if you look at the side cover on these 74s, it'll say 900 double overhead cam. And if you go to, sorry, I'm confused here, the 75s. So if you go to the 74, that side cover looks like the original 73 models. So there's a few different variations between all these bikes.
Yeah, very subtle, very subtle. Very subtle. And then we moved to the KZ900 in the year 1976. Not much changed here either. Daniel, this is a bike that's near and dear to me because maybe Cycle Drag wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for this one. So my personal story with this bike, this was my dad's first KZ. And people ask me, why do you love motorcycles so much? Well, if you ask my dad, he says I was jinxed because he rode that bike right there to the hospital when I was born and parked it right outside to come see me for the first time. That's when he said, son.
What a nice dad and what a nice story.
That's true. But I think that's why I'm cursed with this love of motorcycles. I kind of love it though, huh?
Well, when I was a young father, I thought, should I be this father who says to the kid, no, don't ride a bike, and he goes to a party, has a couple of beers, gets hurt or worse, and I didn't teach him how to ride? Or should I be the father on the right shoulder? And I thought, well, come to my passion. Let me show you this. And that's what I became, the father on the right shoulder. And when he was 15 years old, he became the WERA National Superbike 600C champion. Wow. So we went around the country, spanked all the local fast guys, and came home with the #1 plate.
Congratulations.
He did come, into the AMA 600 Supersport racing the following year. His best finish was 13th at Fontana. And he goes, Dad, and I'm walking on air of happiness and being prideful. And he goes, well, I won 52 races last year in 13th place. But yeah.
Well, you guys got a successful family, and I love the bond.
Yours, Jack.
That's what's great. That's what it's all about. You know, you meet great people around motorcycles, and I'm sure there's people watching this right now that are reminiscing sweet memories. That's what it's all about. It's about the joy and the passion of two wheels. And right now, we're taking a look at a 78 KZ1000 Z1R TC Turbo. Where'd you find this beautiful?
Oh gosh, at the Quail Gathering.
At the Quail, okay.
And I bought it at an auction for $8,300.
Wow.
It was the steal of the century. If you come over and see this little hanging down black box, I never knew about that. When I was a kid in college, I lusted after the turbo and all this stuff. But if you look at that, that is Japan's first attempt at self-canceling turn signal.
Wow. Did not know that.
And yeah, it's been a lovely bike. It's in very, very good shape.
This massive turbo. Have you had an opportunity to ride this?
Oh gosh. Yeah, and dozens of my friends have ridden them too.
Shout out to the Pingles. Very good friends of mine. Pingle Enterprises make the best fuel valve on the market.
I agree with you.
Beautiful. Well, and then another bike that I love, the GPZ. Love that livery. One of the best looking cows in my opinion.
This one came through a friend, Camming Co., and he bought it from New Zealand. So this is the last year of Bigger is Better. It's the first year of mechanical fuel injection. And it's a nice, big, stable ride.
And this is where you could kind of see the Ninja was coming. It was coming. You know, you could see the fairing, you could see the road racing inspired look, and we knew that it wouldn't be long before a man named Tom Cruise in the movie Top Gun, down the road from here in Miramar, California, made the first ever Ninja. Very, very famous. We've got a couple beautiful machines here. Daniel, what are we looking at?
So this is a 750 turbo. So Kawasaki, Yamaha, Suzuki, and Honda, they all came up with this war called the Turbo Wars. And actually Kawasaki won. And this is, I'm the second owner of this bike. Yeah, so Jack, a lot of people say, do these bikes run? Do you ride them? So usually I go here, turn the key on, and we just hit the button and it'll start.
That's awesome. No battery tender either. I see you got it next to an outlet. That's good.
Yeah, it's had a battery charger on it. So this is the first year of less is more. A long time ago, they started brewing wheat beer. Less is more. And all the football guys on, you could read, watch the commercials on TV of less is more. And so this is started central mass, lightweight, and a departure from this other bike, which is bigger is better.
And then we take a big jump up over here as this looks to be what, mid-90s ZX6?
Maybe early 2000s.
Early 2000s,
So
okay.
this was a Keith Code bike.
Okay.
And my friend Carl Lehman bought this from the Keith Code School, and I inherited it from him.
Beautiful bike. Then over here, the Eddie Lawson replica ZRX, which is a bit of an homage to the Z1 and the KLR of its day. Retro corner over here, you also have a Z900 RS. Daniel, I am loving it without trying to tie you up for days, because I could just put my sleeping bag down and live here.
We'll hang out.
Why don't you show me some of your favorite bikes if we could before we you just guide me and show me what you're really proud of it, because I don't know what you have in here that you wouldn't be proud of, but show me your favorites.
This is my new favorite bike. It's
really?
a 2018.
The Z900 RS. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of old school Z1 guys fell in love with this.
Yes, and so back in the day, you would get the 4x4, take it off, and get a 4x1. So this had a 4x1, and these pipes are made in the spirit of the old ones. And this is a Delkovich pipe. It was the very first one in the country, and I bugged them for about a year, and they finally called me up and said, "We have one coming to America. Do you want it?" And I said, "Absolutely." So what I've done to this bike here is put a steel chrome piece on it, extended the tail piece out, put an oval 73 style tail light. Also the turn signals are more old school now. And one of the coolest things was the double overhead cam points cover on this bike. But Kawasaki did a pretty good job out of the gate, but I put these other add-ons.
There it is. That's not from 2018. That's old school. You know what's cool too is I talked to a Kawasaki rep. I'll leave him nameless at this point to keep his innocence, but he brought up a good point. He said ingenious marketing, because he said the Z900, the new one, doesn't sell very well. It's not very popular. They called it, they brought it back with the root beard livery of the classic 73 Z900, and then just like we see in the car world with some of the retro stuff going on there, everybody wanted one. So ingenious marketing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff, man.
So this one I put a different Kawasaki gas tank on it, gas tank logo. It's got a chrome piece.
Wow.
But and then also I put a quick shifter and had my friend John Ethel from Jet Tuning reflash the
ECU to wake it up.
So it doesn't have that notch that some people don't talk about because they love their bike so much.
Awesome.
But it does have that little stumble, and this one's gone. And this is my new favorite bike.
It's his new favorite bike, which says a lot because you have quite the collection. Oh my gosh, we got this. We might not even have to get started with the Suzukis. We'll be here all day, but I love them all. Daniel, why don't you show me maybe your top three, if we could. Let's go see your top three.
Well, since we're right here, so the first one that came out was the Siri Oro, and they gave the first one to King Juan Carlos of Spain.
Okay.
And his summer house was in Mallorca on the island, and one of my dreams was to go there and live, which I did. And so they came out with the F4S, and this is the first one, but the factory didn't give it to me. I had to buy it. I guess they were trying to tell me, oh, you're not in the same league as King Juan Carlos. Not that I ever thought I was, but this is the first street version of the F4 radial valve 750.
Wow. Beautiful motorcycle.
So you wanted to talk about...
Yeah, I see we got Suzuki Row over here too. Look at all the GSs. Here's a question I have for you. Oh, I love that. That's one of my favorite ears. I just like that tailpiece with the GSXR 750, the boxy rectangular. I think that's really, really cool. Maybe from my experience at the drag strip. But speaking of drag strip, let me ask you this. The Z1, super collectible. It seems like the GSs aren't there yet. Are they just not going to be quite as collectible, or are they coming in time?
Well, okay, so I think you hit it on about drag racing. All the hooligans, they adopted the GS 1100 or the GS 1000 series with the total swirl combustion chamber. And this was the bad boy because all the scooter trash drag racers adopted this bike and fell in love with it and hoarded them all. But they are starting to come along their own, and it's a lovely bike. And actually, in '83, one of these models, the GS 1100E, was the bike of the year for good reason. It had more power than the Z1. It had more stability than the Z1, and it had more usable horsepower. They called it smart horsepower. And, you know, the mid-range was up, and it was a great bike, and it was the bike to have for many years. And maybe you're right, the H2s and the Z1s have kind of taken the podium.
Well, the Katana, very collectible. Here's one that they just recently brought back with a retro look. This is the original, though. Whew, beautiful. Are you more of a Suzuki or cow guy?
You know, so there's like cross dressers and what have you, and that's okay. Then there's cross motorcyclists, and that's where I fit in. I love all colors.
Give me a pound over here, because I
chrome,
say the same thing. I
border.
end every video by saying if it's anything fast motorcycles, we're in. I don't care what make it is. I don't care what color it is. I love them.
Yes.
I love them all the same. I mean, there's just too many great motorcycles. And every time I come to an event like this, I see something I haven't ever seen before.
Well, let me show you this.
Okay, what do we got?
This is a rotary motor.
Oh boy.
Rotary powered Suzuki.
What year?
1974.
1974.
You got to watch this. Here,
okay.
Check this out.
Where are we looking? Whoa. Talk about futuristic, huh?
Yes.
That's Jetson stuff back then.
Yeah, for sure. Jetson family. Whoops. Let me turn the key
How do we
off.
get it back down?
Yeah.
There we go.
The globe, the tilt section also. Yeah, this is they asked me to trade in my Suzuki purple bike that I had, Candy Lavender, and it's like, no, I want to keep that bike. I'm not interested in this bike. I probably weighed 135 pounds and I was a little kid. It was a heavy bike, and well, they sold them for a couple years, and then they went away. So I was quite happy to stick with my water buffalo.
Well, I think it's safe to say the 70s were probably the most iconic and transformative years for motorcycles, because I mean, just take a look at it right now. Where we're at in this modern era, we have very fast bikes. We've got the Hayabusa that's been out for so long. We have the GSXR series that's been out, but just look at how groundbreaking everything was back then, and it was all over the place. Honda was putting out the CBX, the 6-cylinder. Nobody knew exactly where we were heading. It was an era of excess, and I just think it was wonderful to look back at all these different creations.
Well, with the modern, you know, the motorcycle manufacturers, but there's the tire guys, and you know the argument about what's better, spokes or mags, and stability for the chassis. So yeah, everything was new every day, it seemed like.
All right, Daniel. Well, like I said, I could stay in here all day. I don't want to tie you up too long. Why don't you, if we can, I know maybe on the way back we got to see that Brough Superior. We're going to make Jay Leno jealous.
So this RC45 is the first one made.
Oh.
VIN number 001.
Whoa, where'd you get this at?
Long story, but let me think. Oh yeah, so yeah, I wanted one of these bikes. I saw number 2 for, it was actually for sale, but I thought it was. And I'm looking in cycle news, and I said to the guy, "Oh, you have one of these? Could you read the VIN?" And he goes, 0001. I thought, oh shoot, this is the one I really wanted. And I said something about, why didn't you put that in the ad? And he goes, well, I didn't want all these tire kickers. So I found it, it found me, and I'm really happy.
Beautiful motorcycle.
The RC51 is coming, and that's also VIN number 001.
Whoa.
This is my old track bike.
Okay.
That John Ethel put together with Miguel de Hamo's stuff from the previous year.
Unbelievable. Now, is this the most valuable motorcycle in your collection?
Absolutely. It's not my favorite, but if there was a fire, I would come get this one first.
That's a good way to put it.
And
I think Jay Leno would come get this one first as well.
Yeah. And so Lee Iacocca gave this to me, the Concord de Elegance of Beverly Hills. And he says, unofficially, I have to ask some questions. Did you ride this bike here? Like, no, I'm getting old, and it's narrow streets and time zone change, and fall's leaving, winter's coming. I trailered it here. And there was a disappointment in look on his face. But I said, oh, yesterday I put 150 miles on it. He goes, officially, you won Best of Show Motorcycle Award. And I like to learn something new every day. And what I learned that day was everything from Tiffany's comes in a blue box. And here's my blue box from Tiffany's. And inside is a Tiffany plaque for Best of Show.
Wow.
How cool is that?
That is cool.
There's a few other people that have these, and they know how really cool these plaques are.
Well deserved, Daniel. This is a 1930 Brough Superior. Not many of these left, right? I mean, how many do we think?
So in 1930, Jack, they made 14 of these, and this is one of those 14.
Good Lord. Do we know any idea how many survived? I mean, you think 14 from 1930, there can't be, I imagine they all didn't make it, right?
No, and it was a while before it became like so popular, it would never be an insurance write-off. They would get it, fix it up and call it good. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm not a numbers guy, so I don't know how many still are around. But they made quite a few of them from 1923 to 1939.
What would you estimate in terms of value? What is this motorcycle worth, you think?
Like I said, I'm not a numbers guy, but I could tell you it's not affordable these days. Unless you're Jay Leno, and he seems to get some really good deals.
The Cycle Drag credit card might not get it done today, is what you're trying to say, huh?
Yeah, not for this bike.
Not for
I'm
this
sure
bike.
your credit card is golden. So.
Well, hopefully. I think it would either be, oh, beautiful. I think we could say this. We're talking about townhouses in California when we talk about this motorcycle, aren't we?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's expensive as a house in 1930, and definitely in other states, you know, probably even in California, you can get a house, not a townhouse, for what these things go for.
Well, this was just phenomenal. Daniel, I really want to thank you. We're going to have to come back because as I know my viewers are crawling out of their skin saying, what are you doing? Don't worry, guys. We're going to come back. We're going to have to do this in multiple parts. Daniel, before I go, is there any other motorcycle you would like to show me here before we break into a part two that we're definitely going to have to do, because this was great. The two-stroke extravaganza, everything that we had here today was just amazing.
Wonderful day.
Yes.
Let's depart this way. Promise to come back.
Promise you.
And let's go for rides.
Ooh.
Helmet, don't bring one. I got one for you. Jacket, I probably have something that nice, handsome, muscle-bound guy like you could fit into.
Don't compliment me.
This one here, departing, it was on the front cover of Scoot magazine. And I bought this for my wife when she turned 50, and it turned 50. So I put them together, and we go down to the store, and I get a loaf of bread, put it in the bread box, and poof, go back home.
I love it, guys. This awesome or what? Please let me know your thoughts down below on this amazing collection. Well, Daniel, this was awesome. Thank you so much again. One of the most astounding, amazing collections. And, you know, I'm so humbled that a lot of people reach out to me and say, hey, Cycle Drag, can you come cover my event? Some are small, some are big. We like them all. This event far exceeded my expectations. This collection far exceeded my expectations. So again, I just want to thank you, sir. And last thing is, you know, I like to ask people that have been around, very successful people, what's the best life advice you could offer somebody watching this video right now?
Oh, gosh. I don't know where to start. People talk about money. Money is not important. It really isn't. What's important is how you make it and how you spend it. Don't be a drug dealer. You know, there's a lot of dignity in labor. Find your spot and be happy with that. And don't be a drunken sailor. You know, spend your money wisely. And so it all comes from here. And if it doesn't come from here, you have to find your way to get it from there, because you can get all the advice you want. And certainly there's lots to give, but it comes from within.
Great
and you
advice.
have it too, by the way.
Well, thank you.
You have
Thank
it too.
you very much. Great advice, my friend. Thanks again for having me. Guys, let them know about it down below in the comments. Like I said, we're going to come back and do a part two. Don't you worry about it. But from SoCal, this has been awesome.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. How about that? If you like this video, here's another one for you. Subscribe right in the middle. And you know if there's anything fast or classic motorcycles, Cycle Drag is in. Thanks so much for watching, guys. More coming.